Hello and welcome back to the Den. Thank you very much for joining us once again here in Hinckley in the UK. So, quick update, we're going to do a quick run around of everything today. So the Caymans, we've done our full inspection on that. The customer is super happy with all the detail that we go into with the inspection, exactly what he wanted. He bought this car back in March, popped in earlier in the summer, and basically said, look, after I've done a few miles in it, see how I settle with it, I want to bring it in, have your inspection, just understand where we are. So we've gone through the inspection. It's a 90,000 mile car, 2006, and it is in very, very good condition indeed. It's been very well looked after. There are a couple of bits we're going to look at and address with the customer, so I'm in the process of putting together an estimate for him and his wife to go through, and they can basically then pick and choose which bits of those work they want to do. But like I say, overall, really lovely car. Manual gearbox, 17-inch wheels, just a proper usable sports car. Really like that, big fan of that. The Peugeot 504, same sketch really, in terms of us doing the inspection. That's all done. The customer has got the report, and actually within the last hour or so just dropped me an email with some feedback on that, which is excellent. So I should be doing exactly the same, going through that, and we can do an estimate for some work on that. Such a cool thing. I really like this. This is another car that comes in, which has always been kind of back here in my head somewhere. And then you kind of look at it and you go over and you think that's so cool. And then you end up on Car and Classic trying to see if you can get one for like no money, which you can't. So yeah, big fan of this, and going to be going through, and primarily it's going to be tidying a few things up for the customer. The engine is severely strangled, so we're going to just try and sort that out. But we'll come back to that. We'll do a bit more of a deep dive when we get into this in the next few weeks, because I think it'll be a really interesting one to do. So we're going to head inside and see what's going on inside. So the MGF, we've been waiting for dampers for the MGF. So the customer had some trick valved Bilstein dampers on this by a company called TechSpeed, who no longer exist. By a lovely chap called Keith Fenn, who sadly is no longer with us. But he basically worked at a specialist called TechSpeed, and another mutual friend who was there as well, I know very well. So anyway, we're getting the dampers are due back today for this. We can put the dampers on this. This can then go back on the floor. We can pump up the hydroelastic, and we'll be at a nice milestone, because we can then look to actually give this a road test, which is fantastic. Very excited about that. All the brakes are back on. The customer supplied trophy brakes, so it's a floating disc on a larger caliper, which we fitted. The other thing I need to get onto on this and sort out, we are retrofitting, I want to call them electric seats. They're not electric seats, heated seats. And we've got OE switches that the customer supplied from another Rover Group car of the period, so they go straight in. We've made up looms to go to the seats, and then we are tapping into the interior lighting circuit to basically illuminate those switches at night. So when the customer switches his lights on, the switches will light up at the same time. So that is getting very close to being back on the road, which is very exciting, because it's been a long time coming. So I am very pleased with the progress on that. In the detailing bay, we've got the gorgeous Alpha, which everyone loves. It's become the car, I would say, that people are going to the most when they come and have a look around. So we are at a stage where the car is basically all back together. There's a couple of things that Retropower are helping us out with on this to finalise. It's been through their paint shop. So they painted the front wing. There was a bit of what turned out, thankfully, to be superficial corrosion coming through on the wing, which we think was probably resulted from a little scratch or something. And then the same with the bottom corners of the windscreen, possibly where it may have had a windscreen at some point in its life, not really too sure. But we were able to take the screen out. We've got a new seal, which was remarkable. And then Retropower just addressed that little bit of corrosion. Thankfully, it wasn't too deep, and have painted both, well, in fact, they painted the whole windscreen panel, and then we refitted. We've got our windscreen people to come and refit the screen with a new seal. So that's all very exciting. We have the exhaust on the back, which I think I've talked about before previously. So all the aftermarket exhausts for these went away from the chrome twin rolled pipes and went to a sort of fairly boring straight cut mild steel horrible thing. But there are some available now. So he's very excited, customers are very excited that we're able to get hold of that. So Jamie will get a little close up of that. The SL, the Danny Dyer car, sorry Jamie, the Danny Dyer car, so we've worked through pretty much all the mechanical stuff on this now. There wasn't a great list, and we have presented an estimate to the customer to get some of the corrosion done on this, which Retropower will do. So there's a little bit on the wing, the doors are a bit crusty, and then during the inspection we found on the scuttle panel there's quite a nasty hole which had been patched fairly well, to be honest, but nevertheless there's still a big hole there, and it's quite rusty where the water obviously goes in and sits there and pools. So we're going to get that sorted out for him as well, if he accepts the estimate. So that's quite cool, happy with that, and we're going to bigger wheels on this as well. So the customer with the 500 SEC, which is currently away having exhaust made, this customer with the SL has purchased the 15-inch wheels from her car, and we're having them refurbished, and then they're going to go on his car with some new tyres, just to go away from the 14-inch wheels, which in 1980 something was a big size on a 5-litre sports car. So that's how times have moved on. Right, on the ramp here we've got the Riley Elf, super cool thing, big fan of this. I do like a classic Mini, and the Riley was kind of a BMC's attempt at a posh, luxurious Mini with a big boot on the back. So very cool thing. This one is, how can we say, extremely modified. Has a 7-port head on it, all trick suspension, loads of cool stuff. It's on throttle bodies as well with distributed ignition. So we're going through sorting out a few things. It's basically the whole car is there. There's just a few things the customer's not happy with. So at the moment we're just doing a bit of servicing and maintenance. So we are changing all the ball joints, which is Owen's on now. We're also going to go through the car, just sort out some of the fuel lines. So up at the engine side and in the engine bay, the car's fitted with some air-equipped fittings, all in -6, which is really nice. And then you kind of get under the car and it goes back to copper and rubber and hose clips and rubbish like that. So we're going to go through, sort all that out for him. One of the big things is, since he's had the 7-port head fitted and set up, the engine tends to run a little bit hotter, particularly in traffic. Driving, it's not too bad, but when he's in traffic, the temperature gauge just rises up, which, you know, anyone who drives an older car knows it can get quite scary. So we're just going to have a little investigate on that, just to try and understand what's going on. It's got a standard static fan in there, and it has actually got an electric fan on the inner wing as well, which is controlled by a traditional fan switch. So we're going to look at incorporating that to the ECU. So that's controlled by the ECU, so we can set when that comes on. And we're also going to see what's just going on with the thermostat. It's got a really low thermostat in it anyway. But we're just going to have a bit of an investigation and just try and understand what's going on with that. But I'm a big fan of that car. It's amazing to drive, brilliant fun, as you can imagine, loads of power. And yeah, brilliant car. Right, moving on. Over here, the 633. A lot of people asking for a deeper dive into the 633. We are waiting for some bits at the moment. We're getting an air conditioning, I guess it's like an upgrade kit. You can't get the AC compressor anymore, but there's a company in America who sell a kit effectively, which is an equivalent. Oh, look at this.
Psych.
Oh, what? Oh, sacked. Right. The air conditioning pump. So I've completely lost my train of thought. Right. The air conditioning pump you can't get anymore. So there's a company in America who offer a replacement which with some bracketry to fit a more generic pump that's suitable for the car. So we're waiting for that to come from America. There's a few little bits and bobs we're working through. There's an air hose that sits on top of the inlet manifold, which is split, and it's meant to be a rubber hose, but it's absolutely rock hard solid, and the top had split. So we are speaking to a couple of people about getting a replacement or having one made, because at the moment it fast idles ridiculously because it's basically just pouring loads of air in, unmetered air. So we're going to get that sorted out. We're also looking at some audio stuff for the customer. So I think in a week or two, when we're a little bit further down the road, we'll have a bit of a deeper dive on that, because it is a very cool car and I like it, and it's been stuck back here for too long. The Metro, what is becoming the world's most famous Metro Turbo. Owen's been doing loads on this, little odds and sods, so we're starting to work through all the fuel pipes, to change all the fuel pipes, and we're assessing a tank at the moment. You can't get a tank, the tank is really crusty. We've flushed it out and everything just comes out brown and horrible. So at the moment we're looking to purge the tank, and we're going to split the tank, cut it open. We can then properly clean and dress, treat the inside, finish it as we need to, and then we can just weld the tank back together. That's kind of for what the customer wants, with being able to have the car reliable, on the button and usable. We feel that that is the best option. So that's what we're going to do. The turbo is away for refurbishment, and the carburettor, Owen is having in bits at the moment. We're going to rebuild the carburettor as well. And I think at the moment, coolant hoses. If anyone knows where you can get coolant hoses for an MG Metro Turbo, please get in touch, because all the usual people don't have any. We can't really justify going down the route of having them made bespoke, because the cost, frankly, is alarming. So yes, we need coolant hoses. So if anyone knows of coolant hoses, that will be much appreciated. The radiator has been recored. Interestingly, the guy that we use for radiators in Coventry, lovely guy, I first met about 25 years ago when he actually he fitted a Boss in a radiator for me in my Mini back in the day. So he used to recore these in period when these were, a fairly common sight. So he was quite, it was a nostalgia for him to see another Metro radiator and get into that and recore it. So yeah, coming along really well. And there'll be probably some news on this with the owner coming soon, which we'll keep you posted on. And I think for now, I think that's it. So I am going to wrap it up with that. So thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. Appreciate your comments. Always read your comments. The ant and deck thing, yeah, not too sure about that at the moment, but take it with a pinch of salt. Have yourselves a lovely week, and we shall see you next time. Bye-bye.